with Asia, and I've been saying for a long time on your show and on anybody else that wanted to listen that we're tying ourselves so closely to Asia and in particular to China that this is going to be trouble for our country. And not only now have they taken our jobs and they've taken our base and they've taken our manufacturing, but now they're pulling us down with them. And I said, we can't do this. We can't allow this to happen. And we have to do a big uncoupling pretty soon before it's too late. I've been saying this for a long time, Bill.
Do you have any theory about why the Chinese economy is collapsing? Do you have any knowledge of it at all?
Because it's funny money. They devalue their currency constantly in order to take our jobs and lots of other countries' jobs, frankly. They've done a pretty big number in Europe, too. Not as good as they've done to us. I said the other day, this is the greatest theft in the history of America, with the money that they've taken out. We have rebuilt China, but now it's gotten to a point. They've devalued their currency to take even more from us, and we have nobody that's competent. We have nobody that knows what's happening. We have nobody that knows how to handle China. And believe me, we have all the cards, but they've devalued to a point where they wanted to take even more money out, even more jobs out, increase, and all of a sudden they have a big, fat, beautiful balloon that is popping right now. But it's taking us with us.
Very briefly, say you're talking to somebody on the street and they go, Mr. Trump, I don't really understand what devalue the currency means. What does that mean to me? I buy stocks in my IRA. I expect them to be profitable, and now they're not because of China devaluating their economy. What does that mean?
Well, they're not devaluing their economy. They're actually, in some ways,
currency.
increasing their
yen.
They're devaluing their currency, and by doing that, they're cheapening their currency, and they're making it very inexpensive. They will be able to make goods for far less than our goods. We make great product, but it's impossible to compete when the product is so much more expensive.
All right, so
eventually, what they're doing, though, leads to depression, Bill.
They're flooding money into,
eventually.
All right. So they got 1.5 billion people, and they're flooding money into the provinces around so that people don't starve because there's not enough legitimate business to support 1.5 billion people. So therefore, then when they pay us...
But, Bill, the problem is they're taking the business from us. So they don't want their people to starve. We all agree with that. That's wonderful. But what they're doing is they want our people to starve. They're taking our business away.
I got it.
They've taken our jobs away.
All right, if U.S. companies, they go over there voluntarily because the labor is cheaper. But now the U.S. companies are being paid back with money that's not worth as much money as they made the deal. So they're getting hosed, aren't they?
Well, not only that, how about we owe them $1.4 trillion, and those dollars become strong? The word strong dollar sounds good, but it's costing us a lot of money. There's some nice things about having a strong dollar, but there are some really bad things. And number one bad thing is we're not exporting anything. We are going to be in big trouble. It's getting worse and worse. And ultimately, the balloon is going to pop, and it's going to get very ugly. And you're starting to see the beginning of that.
Okay. Now, the reason that a lot of politicians favor the trade with China is because when China's tethered to us by having so much of our debt, holding our bonds, it's less likely they will cause military trouble to us. So if you're tethered to somebody economically, if your welfare means their welfare, then it's easier to control them. That is the original intent of all these Chinese deals, is it not?
I don't think so at all. I don't think it's the intent. It's not the military intent. If you look at China with the wars with Japan, Japan would constantly beat them in wars. So I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem that we have is that we have a country that got away with murder for many years. They've built their bridges, their roads, their everything. They've built infrastructure, their airports, like we don't see in this country. Where are we building airports? And look at LaGuardia Airport, look at Kennedy, look at LAX and Los Angeles. They're like third world airports.
So you're not buying the fact that keeping your enemy close.
No, I don't believe that.
Keeping your enemy close is a good geopolitical strategy. You don't buy that.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that ever took place. I think that what has happened is China has gone out of its way to devalue. They got away with it. They kept devaluing, and all of a sudden they built this monster, but they've also built a monster bubble.
Okay. Two people coming to the United States of note in September. The Pope, okay, and the President of China is coming. A man named Xi Jinping. Do you know Xi Jinping? I never heard of him. I don't know who he is. But he's the president. He's coming over. He's getting a big dinner free at the White House, addressing the UN. If you were president, would you throw him a big dinner?
I would not be throwing him a dinner. We've had this conversation. I'd get him a McDonald's hamburger and I'd say, we got to get down to work because you can't continue to devalue. You know, we'll give him a state dinner. And what he's done is sucked all of our jobs, and he's sucked the money right out of our country.
U.S. companies do it. They're doing it. So you would be confrontational with the Chinese? You're saying, look, I'm not giving you a dinner. Here's a Big Mac? I mean, really? Is that what you're going to do?
I would give him but I'd give him a double, probably a double-sized Big Mac. Look, it's not so much the companies, it's our government that allowed China to do this to us.
I don't buy that for a second. Those companies, they go over there because they want as much money as they can. They go to Mexico. Our government lets them do it, but this is a free nation. So if they want to go and do it, you can't stop them. Now, you could punish them.
Bill, our government should have stopped China from devaluing. They never even bring them up. It's the number. Of course they can.
How?
You know how they can?
Yeah, how?
Very simply. Bill, it's so simple. They put a tariff on Chinese goods.
All right,
you know, China.
Then you got a trade war. All right, then you got to trade.
You have to do that, and then you bring it back to normal. You have no choice. You do that. Our government doesn't even. And by the way, China does it to us. Do you think that we sell to China without a tariff? They call it a tariff. I call it a tax.
There's no question
China's
the imbalance.
Taxing our goods.
There's no question the imbalance.
There's a total imbalance.
Right.
You know what the big imbalance is? Right. Intelligence. Their leaders are intelligent. Ours aren't. We don't know what we're doing. We had to do this, and it should have taken place a long time ago. And you wouldn't have this bubble right now, Bill.
Okay, so I'm not going to get Xi Jinping and you together. I was going to take you both out to dinner. I'm not doing that. So I think it might be bloody.
I'd get along with him very well.
I know.
I have great relationships with China and the Chinese.
You'd be vacationing in the Yellow Sea with him. I know. All right, now I'm going to hold Mr. Trump over against his will to talk about immigration because Jeb Bush joins us now from his headquarters in New York City. Now, I have a very specific question. I need a specific answer. We all know you want the wall. We all know you want Mexico to pay for it. We all know that. But here's a scenario, okay? Illegal immigrant mother and father living in Los Angeles. 2 children who are American citizens born here. If you're president, do you order authorities to take that family into custody?
We have no choice. I'm sorry, Bill. We have to bring them out, and if they're wonderful people, which I'm sure they will be, and we have so many wonderful people, we'll bring them back in an expedited fashion. But we are a land of laws. We have borders. You said it. They're illegal immigrants. They're not supposed to be here. Mexico won't take them. You know, Mexico is the toughest there is almost in the world in terms of getting people to come in. They can't come in. You can't become a citizen of Mexico. They laugh at us. They can't believe the stupidity of the United States.
But
we have no choice, and we'll bring them back if they've done a good job. We bring them back, Bill.
Okay,
if they've done a good job, we bring them back.
I got the theory. All right, 2 American citizen kids. All right, you got 2 illegal alien parents. They're living in a house, a little house in the east side of Los Angeles. All of a sudden, ICE agents show up. All right, knock on the door and say, "You have to come with us." Put them in a van, bring them to a detention center. You're willing to do that?
Bill, I don't want to do it. I have a bigger heart than anybody running, but we have a country that's totally out of control. We have no laws anymore. We have no order. We don't even know how many people are in here illegally. We have to get a process started. If you
isn't there a better way than that kind of a confrontation?
Bill, let me just tell you something. You're asking me about illegal immigration. If it weren't for me, this whole session, there's all of these people that you're interviewing every night, they wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration.
Listen,
it's a huge problem in this country.
No doubt about it. And there's
I
no doubt about that.
I took a lot of heat for it. And, Bill, I took a lot of heat for it, especially the first 2 weeks. And now everybody said you had Kate, beautiful Kate, just killed by this person that's disgusting that came here 5 times and probably was pushed over the border 5 times. You have Jamil. You have so many. You have hundreds. The woman the other night, you remember, in Los Angeles, She was raped, sodomized, tortured, and killed. A veteran, 66-year-old woman by an illegal immigrant. We have no choice.
Okay,
and by the way,
but I just think there might be a better way
Bill,
to do it.
I have to finish.
Well, wait.
But, Bill, I have to finish.
All right, go.
Faster. We have no choice. You know, the gangs that you're talking about in Baltimore and in Chicago and in Ferguson and all this stuff, you know, many of those gangs are illegal immigrants. These are tough dudes. They would be, if I'm elected, they're going to be out of there day one. We're going to get them the hell out of our country.
And I don't mind
they shouldn't
that.
be here in the first place.
It's
and
the
they're
other,
going to be
it's
out
the
so
other, the
fast your head
law-abiding
will spin.
people with the American citizen kids. Now, Jeb Bush, probably the one that's running closest to you in most of the polls, was on the southern border today and said this.
Mr. Trump's plans are not grounded in conservative principles. The simple fact is that his proposal is unrealistic. It will cost hundreds of billions of dollars. It will violate people's civil liberties. It will create friction with our third largest trading partner that's not necessary. And I think he's wrong about this.
And you say?
Well, he talks about civil liberties. We have illegal people that came in illegally. You tell me about civil liberties. We have to get them out. And some of these people are causing tremendous problems. All you have to do is look at the crime wave. Number one, as far as Mexico being our third largest part, they are making a fortune. We're not making anything. Mexico's making a fortune because their leaders are smarter. They know what they're doing. Our people are grossly incompetent. Nabisco is now moving to Mexico. Ford is building a massive automobile plant in Mexico. They took a plant from Tennessee. It's going into Mexico. We're getting killed. So he can talk about, look, Jeb Bush is a nice person. He doesn't have the energy or the capacity to make our country great again. That I can tell you 100%. And you do need the wall. The wall is very important. And I think even you agree with the wall.
Listen,
Bill.
I think you're right about the wall. I think you're wrong about the mass deportations and going into families. I think they have to be held accountable. And I think they have to be registered and they have to go through the process. But I can't possibly see how the courts, the federal courts, are going to allow federal agents to kick doors in and drag people out, especially when their kids are American citizens. Last word.
I don't believe it'll be done that way. It'll be done in a very humane way, and they'll come back in, and they'll be legal, and people will be happy, and we'll have a country again. Right now, we have no border. We have people illegally in this country all over the place. Nobody even knows how many, and we have to make our country strong and smart again, Bill, because what's happening to this country is very sad, and we're a laughingstock all over the world. Remember that.
All right, Donald. Always